Good morning. Thank you all so much for being patient with us. Wanted to provide updates on two incidents. One, a pursuit last night that ended unfortunately in a custodial death. And second, a road rage shooting that occurred this morning on the south side. So let me start with the shooting, the pursuit from last night. Last night, one of our gang unit deputies was patrolling the eastern side of Bexar County as part of our violent crimes task force that's ongoing due to an uptick in violent activity in the area. She physically heard gunshots coming from an area off of Walsham and Montgomery. Around that same time, I believe SAPD was responding to an actual shooting with hits in that same area. The gang unit deputy, having heard the gunshots and then seeing a vehicle fleeing the area at a high rate of speed, attempted to make a traffic stop on that vehicle. She called out that she was making a stop. That vehicle then entered a retail parking lot nearby, started driving around the parking lot, but before long it became pretty apparent to the deputy that the driver of the vehicle was not going to stop. The vehicle then re-entered the roadway and began heading back out on Walsham Road toward IH-35 at a high rate of speed. The deputy did a great job maintaining composure and calling out direction of flight and vehicle description. At the intersection of 35 and Walsham, that vehicle lost control, collided with a light pole. It appears that the driver's side door sheared off, and the driver of the vehicle, a 43-year-old female, was thrown from the car and died almost instantly, unfortunately. A 19-year-old male passenger in the car fled on foot before being apprehended by deputies shortly thereafter. The suspect was taken to the hospital, where he then attempted to escape from deputies there at the hospital while he was undergoing medical treatment, attempted to escape, and was again subdued by a deputy after being tased there in the hospital. So that 19-year-old male is now facing charges of evading arrest on foot, which is a misdemeanor charge, and then an escape charge in connection with what occurred at the hospital. At the crash scene, the 43-year-old female that lost her life as a result of the pursuit, an AK-style rifle was actually found in possession of that. It had been in the vehicle at the time of the crash. There was a fully loaded magazine that was found that had been apparently during the impact became detached from the weapon, but there was one live round in the chamber of the weapon, and then a fully loaded high-capacity magazine that was ejected from it. Initially, we weren't 100% positive that vehicle that had been involved in the pursuit was directly involved in the shooting. However, since that time, we have come to find out that there is a connection between that driver, that suspect who is now deceased, and the victim in the shooting that's being handled by SAPD. So I'm not able to give too many details because SAPD is handling that shooting, but I can tell you there is some sort of a connection between the two. So we do believe at this point that the suspect that's deceased as a result of her actions in the pursuit is directly involved with the shooting currently being handled by the San Antonio Police Department. Anoche, aproximadamente las 2 de la mañana, uno de nuestros oficiales de la unidad antipandillas estaba en patrulla cuando ella escuchó balazos. En ese tiempo también el Departamento de Policía de San Antonio fueron despachados a un tiroteo donde una mujer fue baleada. Ya cuando nuestra oficial empezó a llegar a donde ella escuchó los balazos cerca de Walsham y Montgomery, ella vio un carro huyendo, parecía que iba huyendo de la escena a muy alta velocidad. Ella intentó de parar ese carro. El carro entró a un estacionamiento de carros y no se paró, sino que entró para atrás para la calle Walsham, empezó a huir de la oficial a muy alta velocidad. La oficial puso por el radio que estaba persiguiendo este sospechoso o sospechosa en este carro, y desafortunadamente ese carro se estrelló con un poste de luz en Walsham y 35. La mujer, el chofer del carro, fue aventada del carro y falleció ahí en la escena de los hechos. La mujer tenía 43 años de edad. Un hombre de 19 años de edad huyó del carro a pie. Los oficiales lo pescaron. Fue llevado al hospital donde él empezó a pelear con los oficiales, intentó de escaparse, pero los oficiales con una pistola electrónica sí lo tumbaron otra vez, lo arrestaron otra vez. Entonces él se va a enfrentar con cargos por huir a pie y también por escape en el hospital. La mujer de 43 años de edad, sí se piensa que hay conexión entre ella y la víctima del tiroteo donde el Departamento de Policía están investigando ese caso, pero sí sabemos que hay conexión. Entonces, ahorita se piensa que ella estaba involucrada con el tiroteo ese donde una mujer fue baleada. Sí se encontró dentro del vehículo que chocó, se encontró que había un rifle estilo AK-47, que también el rifle fue aventado del carro, pero se piensa que es posible que ese rifle fue usado en el tiroteo que también están investigando. Ahorita tenemos 3 oficiales que están fuera del trabajo. Ahorita nosotros estamos siguiendo el proceso. Cuando tenemos una muerte bajo custodia, los oficiales están separados del trabajo, pero van a regresar en unos cuantos días a un trabajo administrativo, mientras que nosotros manejamos la investigación. La oficial primaria que estaba involucrada es una veterana de 10 años en la agencia. Otro oficial de 2 años que estaba involucrado, él era el vehículo segundo, y otro tercer oficial que ahorita no tengo los años de servicio de él, pero se los podemos dar. One thing I neglected to give you guys earlier in English, I gave to them, is that we have 3 deputies now that are on administrative leave, in keeping with the way we typically handle custodial deaths and officer-involved shootings. Although this was not an officer-involved shooting, it's being handled along the same lines. And so in keeping with that process, they're on administrative leave. At a certain point, they'll be brought back to administrative duty, pending the outcome of the case. But at present, from what I saw, it appears that all processes and policies were complied with. But unfortunately, the suspect's actions are what led to her death and what brings us here today. Are there any questions for me?
Does the arrested suspect have a criminal history and name?
The 19-year-old, he does not have a criminal history. So at this point, I don't believe he's been magistrated yet, so I can't give you his name. But I do believe that there is blood relation between he and the deceased driver. She's 43. She has a slight criminal history. I believe she was arrested some years back, but it was dismissed. The case was dismissed. But other than that, I don't believe she's got a long criminal history at all.
The driver or the person shot?
The driver. The person shot, I don't know much about that person. I know that SAPD is investigating that.
Did SAPD say that the 19-year-old is a shooting suspect, and could I get clarification on the driver and the 19-year-old?
So I wouldn't be able to tell you which of those is considered a suspect in SAPD's case. All I can tell you is that they're suspects in the fleeing from custody, evading arrest is what we have them on. But as far as what they may be suspected of on the other end, that's going to be up to SAPD to determine.
Entonces, la muchacha de 43 años la tiraron del carro.
Ella fue aventada del carro, era la chofer. La puerta de ella se arrancó del carro cuando se estrelló con el poste, fue aventada del carro, no sabemos si tenía cinturón puesto, pero fue aventada del carro y desafortunadamente ella falleció ahí en la escena.
Ella era la que manejaba.
Ella era la chofer.
Y el de 19 años es el que resistió primero.
Sí, era el pasajero de él era el pasajero de enfrente, pero ya cuando el carro paró, él se salió del carro y intentó de huir a pie, pero los oficiales lo pescaron bien pronto.
¿Está recuperándose en el hospital?
Ahorita no sé si él todavía está en el hospital o si ya lo trajeron para atrás, para acá, pero ahorita no puedo dar el nombre de él porque no he visto el juez todavía. Entonces ya después de ser magistrado con el juez, ya después podemos dar el nombre de él. Pero pensamos ahorita que ellos dos están relacionados, son parientes. Yo pienso que el pasajero y la chofer son parientes.
y están relacionados con el tiroteo.
Ellos tienen algo que ver nosotros ahorita pensamos que ellos tenían algo que ver con el tiroteo donde la mujer fue baleada, pero el departamento de policía, ellos se tienen que encargar poder averiguar qué parte ellos tuvieron en ese tiroteo.
If the 43-year-old had a criminal history, do you know why she was out of jail?
Well, the case was dismissed. I think it was from a couple of years ago, and I believe it was dismissed. And I don't recall what charge it was. I believe it was a burglary, but I'm not 100% positive on that. But that case was dismissed at that time in 2020.
Are you able to release her name at this time?
At this point, no, because I don't believe that she's been positively ID'd by the medical examiner. We believe we know who she is, but since I don't know, status on next of kin or if the ME is positively identified, I can't give that information yet. Any other questions on the pursuit?
And you're going to talk about one other case.
I'm going to talk about one other case, yes.